Hey, I'm gonna go over packing list and show you just everything that I brought on the Teton Crest Trail. We got back from the TCT a couple days ago, so I can show you what worked and what didn't, and what I suggest. So, first, pack. I brought this REI Pack. It's 65 liters. It was perfect because we flew into West Yellowstone, and this fit as my carry-on bag. It's 22 inches, which should be the Delta requirement for height. So that was perfect. It even fit into like the overhead bin on the really small plane that we took from Salt Lake City to West Yellowstone. So that was surprising, but great. Squished down fine. No comments there. So that's that. So let's start with the big things. So the sleeping bag, again, REI. It's the Jewel 21, the women's one. And then I have this stuff sack that it goes in, which worked super well. Just smush it all down and keep it in my pack. And then I also brought this sheet to go inside of it. I honestly, it wasn't cold enough to use it really. I just don't like the feel of sleeping bags, so that's why I brought it. But that's definitely not necessary. And then I have this little Sea to Summit pillow. This was great. Definitely recommend this. It blows up super easily. That's great. And then this is my Sea to Summit sleeping pad. Definitely use that. It keeps you a lot warmer and off the ground, off of any rocks or roots. That's a must-have. I also used trekking poles for the first time. Ignore this. This was a DIY project gone wrong. Look for a video on that soon. Also, Mormons ate it, so beware. But I would definitely recommend trekking poles. These are some black diamond ones that are adjustable. They worked super well. I would recommend them. I got the adjustable ones so that I can use them as tent poles later. But they have kind of fixed height ones too that my dad brought, and those worked cool, just as fine. So up to you. While we're talking about tents, we used the REI Passage 2. Worked fine again. One important thing to note is you cannot check tent stakes or poles. So we had to take those out in order to check this, and we put them, carry on. You cannot carry on tent stakes or poles. So we ended up having to check a bag for those and some other items. So that's that. And then let's go through food next. So I brought this granola for breakfast. It's a Cliff Bar granola. I had this and apples. The apples were kind of heavy and took up a lot of room, so I don't know if I would bring those again, but that's what I had. And then for lunch, I either had some snacks, kind of like Cliff Bar things and dried fruit, or I had peanut butter sandwiches. For dinner, we had these little backpacker freeze-dried meals. We had a couple different ones. I tear off the top before I go just so that I have less trash to carry out. So, a little suggestion if you're into that. And then I also tried these protein waffle things as a dessert. Honestly, they were okay. They weren't great. This is our camping stove. It's super small, fits in this little box, and it is self-igniting, so that's fun and cool. You don't even need a lighter. I did bring a lighter just in case, and matches. We had that. Cooking fuel, we brought 2 of these little ones. We ended up only needing 1, but also you can't carry on or check this, so you have to get that there. I have my little spoon, knife, fork combo to eat things with. Here are my matches and lighter for cooking. You can't have fires anywhere on the TCT, so you have to be using a cook stove if you're going to have warm food. Another thing I brought was a camp shower. This was the first time I used this. This is Sea to Summit again. It's basically a dry sack, which I didn't realize until afterwards, but I could have used this as a dry sack, stuff sack kind of situation, because that's what it is. And then you just fill it with water, and then there's this little nozzle, and you unscrew the nozzle, water comes out. It's great. I used it once to actually shower, and then the other times I would get some water from the lake and then use it to wash off my feet, wash my face, brush my teeth. Actually, not brush my teeth. I needed filtered water for that. But it was good just not have to keep going back to the water source. It was really nice for that. It comes with this rope to kind of hang it in a tree, but I was able to just find a branch and hook it on that. Also for water, we've had 2 of these little Sawyer minis. Super easy to do. You fill up the bag, screw it on, and then kind of push the water through the bag, and then your clean water comes out there. We used these smart water bottles, and then I also had another one that was like Life Water with like the sport cap, which was nice. So we just had 2 of these each. That was completely fine because there's water every, half a mile or less. So we didn't need to be carrying a lot of water, which was really nice. For light, I have this headlamp. It's very bright, 3 settings, and it's rechargeable. So I brought this solar charger, which failed me so hard. I used the same solar charger in Iceland and it worked out great, and so I was really excited to bring it, but it ended up like draining my phone battery instead of charging it, so that sucked. So if you have any solar charger recommendations, let me know because I'm looking for a new one. I brought this knife, super lightweight and small. I didn't need it, but just in case I had it. Toilet paper, for sure. This is biodegradable, but you are supposed to pack out any toilet paper that you use. So, have trash bag. This is for any trash that we're packing out. Also, you want to try and keep things in bags so that it just smells less for bears and any other animals. Have a rain cover for my pack. It came with the pack, so that's nice, but if yours doesn't come with one, make sure you get one. Thankfully it didn't rain on us, but it was nice to have just in case. I'm a writer, so I brought this small little notebook. That's obviously optional. I brought a pen too. This, not optional, is our topo map, and it has the whole Grand Teton National Park, and then on the back it has the detailed map of the Teton Crest Trail. So that was really helpful. One thing to note is that if you're starting at the aerial tram or the gondola, it does not have, it kind of cuts off at the bottom where the Rendezvous Mountain to Marion Lake section, so that was a little bit hard to find. I'll have another instructions of how to do that because we spent about 45 minutes going up and down Rendezvous Mountain trying to find it. It's very frustrating. Alright, next thing. I brought these 2 bandanas. First of all, we went during COVID-19 pandemic, so they work well as face coverings. We also had cloth face masks for when we were going on the gondola or coming off, and then had N95 masks for the airplane. So, little safety things. But regardless of a pandemic, these are awesome as towels, and yeah, that's what I mainly use them for. Just like washing your face off or drying things, drying your food utensils after you use them, anything like that. I really like these. They're lightweight and fun, helpful. For toiletries, got those back here. So I brought chapstick, which I definitely needed. It was really windy and I'm so glad I had this. Little travel toothbrush and toothpaste. I wear contacts, so I had to bring that stuff, and my glasses. And then I brought this Castle soap. There's also like biodegradable soaps, which might be better, but this is just something small that I found, and then extra hair ties. The Castle soap is good because you can use it to wash yourself, you can use it as like laundry detergent to kind of wash your socks if you wanted to. I use it as shampoo. Didn't work super great, but that's okay. Used it to wash my hands before I took my contacts out. It was good for all that. So, moving on to clothes. I use trail running shoes. I wanted to use hiking boots, but I've had a lot of issues with finding hiking boots that don't give me blisters. So I used these La Sportiva trail running shoes. They worked great, but number 1 tip is use them with Balega socks. I'm sure there's other non-blister socks out there, but these are the ones that I tried, and I love them. So I brought new socks for every day. We were planning to be out there 5 days. We ended up doing it in 4. So I had some extra socks, but that's okay. And then I also brought some wool socks for nighttime in case it was kind of cold, and also in case it was really cold I could have used them as gloves for my hands. If you're going, I mean honestly any time of the year it gets cold at night, so I'm glad I had those just in case. And then in terms of other clothes, I brought these super lightweight base layer legging pants for nighttime to sleep in. It didn't get that cold, honestly. One night I didn't wear them, I didn't really need them, but again, I like to err on the side of caution just in case it was cold. I would have been glad that I had them, and they're super lightweight, so I didn't mind bringing them. I have these hiking shorts, so I brought one change of clothes, and then I wore, obviously, clothes on the day that we started. So these are my change of shorts, and then I have this Columbia shirt that I wore on the day we started, and I had this REI shirt that I changed into when I changed my shorts. In terms of hiking clothes, you want to make sure that it's moisture wicking and that it's antimicrobial. So that's going to make it not smell bad, and it's going to make it, like, if you wore a cotton t-shirt, you would literally hate your life. Like, it would be disgusting. So you want it to be kind of like sweat wicking material for sure. Other clothing item I brought was this down jacket. It's also REI, and what's cool is that it kind of stuffs into this pocket, so if I keep stuffing it, it will eventually fit into this pocket and I'll be able to zip it closed. So it stuffs down super small, but it's also really warm. I was really glad I had this. Every night it got kind of cold after the sun went down, and there's a lot of windy places where this came in handy. So I'm glad I had that. Last piece of clothing item is just this rain poncho. It's a super cheap, I think I got it from the dollar store, Dollar Tree, whatever. It's a rain poncho and it's plastic, super lightweight, but if it was like downpouring, I could have put it over myself and stayed dry so that I didn't get cold later. So glad I had that even though I didn't use it. Next, this towel. I wasn't sure if I was going to bring this towel or not. It's pretty big, but I'm glad I had it because I did shower that one day and it was nice to have it to dry off with more than the bandanas. And then also I was able to use it as like kind of a blanket, and I didn't bring sunscreen, which I should have brought, and so my arms were super burned, and so I kind of wore it as like a cape kind of thing to keep the sun off of my arms when we were going over Hurricane Pass. So I'm glad I had it for that alone. It was worth it just because my arms hurt so bad. So I had that, and then I think our final thing is these stuff sacks. I used this one for food, which I then put inside of a bear canister, but if in an emergency you didn't have enough room in a bear canister, you could hang these. So I brought rope, and you could hang them, I think it's 10 feet up, 4 feet over from whatever you're hanging it on. You're not technically allowed to hang food in the park because it's not very effective at keeping bears away from it. It will keep it away from marmots, which was the biggest of our issues there. We didn't see any bears, thankfully. But in an emergency, if it's hanging it or nothing, then hanging it might work. And so I had that, and then I put my clothes in this dry sack, and then this one was just for like my headlamp, my knife, like a lot of miscellaneous items I wanted to keep together. So I think that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any suggestions for what to bring next time, definitely let me know. Always open to those. One thing I did not say, because I traveled with my dad, he had some things in his pack. He had the cook kit, which you would need in order to cook things, so that's important. And he also had the bear spray. So you basically are I mean, it's not required, but it's like almost required that you have bear spray when you're hiking in the Grand Tetons. And unfortunately you can't fly with that. It's about $45–50. You can buy it at any of the general stores inside the park, and it's non-returnable, non-refundable. There are recycling stations afterwards, but we ended up giving ours to one of the other hikers that was in line for a permit, because we didn't want to just like, you know, throw it away. We hadn't used it. So those are 2 extra things that I don't have here that we did bring. I just didn't carry them myself. So I think that's everything. But thanks, hope that was helpful.